My husband did something very simple. He talked to people. You're going to be murdered or talking to people. He didn't go after.
Were Erica and Charlie Kirk really getting divorced, and did they file papers just days before his assassination?
A priest that came over to pray over Charlie and Erica's marriage the night before is what I am told.
Charlie Kirk's sister, Mary Kirk, has recently been mentioned in connection with claims that he may have quietly submitted divorce paperwork just 4 days before the tragic event that turned everything upside down. For months, the public image around the marriage looked strong and united. People saw prayer gatherings, shared appearances, and messages about a relationship that seemed steady and supportive. But if reports about a possible separation are accurate, that polished image begins to look very different. A private legal filing like that could explain several details people have been questioning ever since. Some observers have also pointed to rumors suggesting that his wife might have been removed from his will not long before everything happened. Others noticed another small but curious detail: reports that his wedding ring was not on at one point during that day. That observation alone would normally mean very little, but when placed next to the other whispers circulating online, it quickly fueled speculation. Individuals who claimed to be familiar with the situation also hinted that life inside the household may not have been as stable as it appeared publicly. When those pieces are placed side by side, many viewers feel the timeline starts to raise difficult questions. Then another element surfaced that made the entire story feel even more unusual. According to reports circulating online, a priest visited the home the night before everything unfolded to pray over the marriage. And this was not just any clergy member. Some accounts describe the priest as someone who had previously been connected to controversy.
So I said, I want you to have a good night's sleep. Go ahead and sleep in her room. And I'll turn the air down so it's nice and cozy in there. And I just want you to get a good night's sleep so you can be amazing tomorrow.
The idea that a spiritual intervention might have taken place right before such a dramatic turning point has only intensified curiosity about what may have been happening behind closed doors. When people step back and examine the sequence of events, the conversation naturally begins to shift. The focus is no longer only about the shocking incident itself. Many observers have started wondering what the final days of the marriage actually looked like. If divorce paperwork had truly been submitted days earlier, that would mean the relationship may have reached a breaking point long before the public ever suspected anything was wrong. And that possibility changes how some people interpret everything that followed. Since Charlie passed away, Erica has remained very visible in public life. She has appeared at events, spoken in interviews, and continued presenting herself as someone determined to carry forward his legacy. Supporters view this as strength during an incredibly painful moment. They say continuing to speak publicly can be a powerful way to honor someone's memory and keep their mission alive. But critics online have interpreted her public presence very differently. Social media discussions have been filled with viewers analyzing every appearance and every speech. Some people argue that her calm, polished public messaging feels almost too controlled for someone navigating such personal loss. Others say it simply reflects someone stepping confidently into a leadership role that Charlie once held. For some critics, however, that level of visibility has sparked debate about whether the emotional tone of her appearances fully matches the seriousness of what happened. The conversations across the internet have been intense. Comment sections on multiple platforms show people debating whether her actions represent determination or something more strategic.
Removed, I think, I'm saying this, I'll say allegedly, I think it was Charlie who removed his wedding photo from his homestead. I think that's where he went into his office for a bit.
Supporters insist that continuing to work publicly can be a healthy way of honoring someone's legacy while moving forward. Critics, on the other hand, sometimes feel the messaging places heavy focus on presentation and public image. Another detail that keeps drawing attention is how often Charlie's name appears in her speeches and interviews. For supporters, this reinforces the belief that she is protecting and continuing his legacy. For skeptics, it raises questions about whether the story of their relationship is being framed in a way that supports a larger narrative. That difference in interpretation has kept the debate alive online. All of this has turned what once looked like a straightforward story of grief into something far more complicated in the eyes of the public. Every new detail, whether confirmed, disputed, or simply rumored, adds another layer to a timeline people are still trying to understand. And that is why the possibility of a divorce filing has become such a major focus of attention. If those documents truly exist and were filed only days before the tragedy,
how long have you been married, and when did you know it was time to get married?
We've been married since 2021. We laugh about this because our dates are so messed up because of babies.
It would suggest that the relationship was going through a serious shift. At the same time, the world believed everything was stable. For observers trying to piece together the story, that single detail could potentially reshape how the final days are remembered. Right now, much of the conversation remains based on interpretation and fragments of information that have surfaced publicly. But one thing is clear: the discussion surrounding Charlie's final days, his marriage, and the events leading up to the tragedy continues to spark intense debate across social media and public commentary. As more details circulated, people naturally began asking even tougher questions. If the divorce rumors had already been spreading quietly behind the scenes, it would explain why the story has continued gaining attention. The idea that their relationship may have been under serious strain before the tragedy has kept many observers looking more closely at the timeline. One detail that raised eyebrows involved where Charlie reportedly spent the night before everything happened. According to accounts shared later, Erica said he did not sleep in their bedroom that evening and instead stayed in their daughter's room.
Really handsome.
You look gorgeous. You fixing my... Got a little bacon. Babe, that's deep in there. Give them a cleavage? People want cleavage.
That small detail immediately caught attention. After returning from a long international trip, many people would expect a reunion with family to look very different. Think about the situation from a simple perspective. A husband returning home after extensive travel, someone who had reportedly missed his family during that time, choosing not to sleep in the same room as his wife that night. For many observers, that detail seemed unusual. It did not automatically prove anything, but it added another small piece to a puzzle that already had people talking. Then another moment surfaced that made viewers look even closer. Some reports claimed Charlie was not wearing his wedding ring earlier that day. According to those same accounts, he later went back into the bedroom to retrieve it and put it on. That detail immediately sparked debate online. For some people, the explanation could be completely ordinary. Many married individuals remove their rings during travel, workouts, or other activities. But when combined with the other rumors circulating at the same time, critics began interpreting the moment differently. They questioned why the ring was not already on and whether putting it back on later might have carried some symbolic meaning. None of these details by themselves would necessarily suggest something serious was happening. But when people started placing them side by side, the rumors about possible divorce paperwork, the reports of sleeping in separate rooms, and the conversation around the wedding ring, the picture began to look different, and many online commentators. Taken together, those pieces created a storyline that some observers began studying very closely. To them, it started to resemble a relationship that may have been dealing with challenges behind the scenes. Another moment that caught viewers' attention involved a wedding photo that had once been clearly visible in Charlie's home studio setup. People who regularly watched his recordings noticed something subtle but interesting over time. At one point, the photo suddenly disappeared from the background. As soon as viewers realized it was gone, the internet reacted quickly. At first, some critics assumed Erica had removed it. Social media discussions quickly filled with speculation, with certain commenters suggesting it might have been an attempt to control the visual narrative of the relationship or reshape how their marriage was being presented publicly. But later, another explanation began circulating that changed the entire interpretation. According to some accounts, it may have actually been Charlie himself who removed the photo.
My name is Aubrey Leitch, and I am the former public relations manager for Turning Point USA, and I was a part of the recent kind of mass termination group at Turning Point.
If that version of events is accurate, it shifts the meaning completely. Someone removing their own wedding photo from a visible place can suggest something very different than another person doing it. For many observers, that possibility hinted that the emotional distance people were discussing online may not have been one-sided. The disappearance of a wedding photo from a public setting might seem like a minor detail. But in an era where viewers carefully analyze every frame of online content, even small background changes can attract serious attention. Fans who follow public figures closely tend to notice subtle visual details, changes in decor, missing objects, or shifts in presentation that might otherwise go unnoticed. Then there is the role of the priest, which has become one of the most talked about elements of the timeline. Early explanations suggested that the priest's visit was connected to safety concerns. According to some reports, letters had been received that raised concerns, and the visit was described as a prayer for protection. However, some critics pointed out an interesting point. Charlie had received critical messages and public backlash many times before. Given the nature of his work, that kind of attention was not unusual. Because of that, some observers began asking why that particular evening would require such a specific spiritual visit. As more information began, Circulating, another interpretation started gaining attention online. Instead of the visit being about safety concerns, some accounts suggested the priest may have been invited to pray over the marriage itself. If that explanation is accurate, it adds another layer to the story. Inviting a spiritual leader to pray over a relationship is something that often happens during moments of serious difficulty. Couples experiencing strain sometimes turn to faith leaders in hopes of repairing something that feels like it may be slipping away. When people place that detail alongside the other rumors, the separate sleeping arrangements, the ring discussion, and the reports of possible divorce filings, the timeline begins to look very different from the public image that had been presented earlier. Of course, many supporters caution against drawing strong conclusions from scattered pieces of information. Relationships are complex, and private struggles can exist even in marriages that appear strong on the surface. A disagreement, a temporary separation, or even counseling does not automatically mean a relationship is ending. Still, for critics and commentators online, the sequence of events continues to spark curiosity.
Give assurance to people that Turning Point USA is continuing, and it is. I mean, we are so blessed to have more work than we even could ever dream of.
Each small moment has slowly become part of a larger narrative that people are trying to piece together, and that curiosity is what keeps the discussion active. When a story involves well-known public figures, personal relationships, and unexpected developments, every small detail can quickly become part of the wider conversation. The questions surrounding Charlie's final days, including what may have been happening inside his marriage, remain one of the most debated parts of the entire timeline. If some of these interpretations are accurate, then the night before Charlie's passing may not have been focused on outside concerns at all. Instead, some observers believe the tension might have been connected to events unfolding within the home itself. And when people look closely at the timeline of the marriage, several moments continue to attract attention. One of those moments comes from a clip on the Charlie Kirk show that viewers frequently revisit. During the segment, a fan asked what seemed like a very simple question: "How long have you been married?" It sounded like an easy answer most couples would give instantly. But in the clip, Erica briefly paused as if thinking about the exact date. After that short moment, Charlie stepped in and answered that they were married in 2021. To be fair, Erica quickly laughed and explained the pause by saying that life filled with kids, birthdays, and nonstop responsibilities can make dates blur together. She joked about what many parents refer to as mom brain, suggesting that juggling so many things can make even important dates slip your mind for a moment. That explanation satisfied many viewers. But some people online saw the moment differently. Their official wedding date, May 8th, 2021, in Scottsdale, Arizona, was not that far in the past. Because of that, a few critics thought it was surprising the answer did not come immediately. On its own, the pause may not have meant anything. But with all the other rumors circulating at the same time, some viewers began interpreting even tiny moments as meaningful clues. The conversation expanded further when online discussions turned to Erica's dating history before meeting Charlie. At one point, she mentioned that for roughly 5 years before their relationship, she had not dated anyone. According to her explanation, that period had been focused mainly on work and personal growth rather than relationships. However, as internet users began examining the timeline more closely, some commentators started mentioning names from that earlier period. Those claims have not been confirmed in any official way, but the discussions spread quickly across forums and social media platforms. Situations like this often grow rapidly online, with speculation sometimes moving faster than verified facts. When earlier comments begin to be debated publicly, audiences sometimes grow more skeptical about other details as well. That shift in perception has played a major role in shaping the public conversation surrounding Erica. Another major turning point happened after Charlie's passing, when Erica stepped into the leadership role at TPUSA as CEO. The transition happened quickly. For many supporters, it appeared to be a natural step meant to keep the organization stable during a difficult moment. They viewed her leadership as a continuation of the mission Charlie had built, but reactions inside and outside the organization have reportedly been mixed. Some individuals describe the transition as smooth and necessary for stability. Others claim there may have been tension behind the scenes. A few former staff members and insiders have spoken publicly, suggesting that people who expressed certain opinions about Charlie's passing or the direction of the organization may have eventually moved on from their positions. There have also been discussions online about potential wrongful termination concerns, although none of those claims have been proven in court. Without official rulings, verified documents, or legal findings, those conversations remain part of the broader online debate rather than confirmed facts. Still, the topic continues to circulate in comment sections and forums, where people are trying to understand how events unfolded behind the scenes. What many viewers have noticed, however, is that Erica stepped into the CEO role without any visible internal opposition. From the outside, the transition appeared quick and decisive. Since then, she has spoken confidently about the organization's future. In interviews and public appearances, she has outlined plans for growth, expansion, and what she describes as the next chapter of the movement. That message has drawn mixed reactions. From the public, some supporters believe it shows strength and determination during a difficult period. To them, continuing the mission and focusing on the future demonstrates resilience in the face of a painful situation. Others, however, have interpreted the tone differently. One clip that spread widely online shows Erica discussing upcoming plans and long-term goals. In the video, she talks about opportunities ahead and the direction she believes the organization should take. Some viewers described the message as hopeful and forward-looking, but others said the tone felt surprisingly upbeat considering the circumstances surrounding the recent tragedy. To address the reactions, Erica later clarified her comments and explained that her intention was to focus on continuing the mission that Charlie had built over the years. Even with that explanation, some critics continued analyzing the clip closely, saying the delivery still felt unusual to them. And when people placed that clip alongside all the other rumors circulating online, discussions about possible divorce filings, questions surrounding the wedding ring, reports about separate sleeping arrangements, the missing wedding photo, and the priest's visit, many observers began examining every detail even more closely. That growing atmosphere of speculation eventually expanded beyond Erica and toward Charlie's family as well. Some online conversations began mentioning his sister, Mary Kirk, as a possible figure who might one day step into a leadership role within the organization. Mary has often been described as having a very different path compared with her brother. While Charlie built his career in political activism and public commentary, Mary has been associated more with the art world and creative spaces. People familiar with the family often say she has a different personality and outlook entirely. Some commentators even describe her as politically moderate, while others believe her views may differ from Charlie's in several areas. Because of that contrast, the idea of her potentially taking on a leadership position has sparked curiosity online, even though there has been no official indication that such a move is actually being considered. Alongside those discussions, there has also been speculation about possible tension between Charlie's parents, his sister, and Erica. Some observers pointed out that members of his immediate family were not prominently visible during certain parts of the funeral events. From that observation alone, some people began wondering whether disagreements might exist behind the scenes. At the same time, many others caution against jumping to conclusions. Grieving processes can look very different from one family to another. The absence of someone from a public moment does not automatically indicate conflict, and without direct confirmation from the people involved, most of the discussion remains speculation. Still, when a story involves a well-known public figure, a sudden tragedy, and leadership changes inside a major organization, it often brings intense scrutiny from the public. Every appearance, every statement, and even small visual details quickly become part of a much larger narrative people try to piece together. In this case, the combination of questions about the marriage, leadership changes within the organization, and the dynamics inside Charlie's family has created a situation that continues to generate debate across social media and online discussion spaces. Supporters online have reacted to these developments in very different ways. Some viewers say the timeline feels unusual and believe certain details do not quite line up. Others strongly push back against that idea, reminding people that the public still does not know everything that may have been happening privately. From their perspective, judging such a complex situation based only on scattered information can lead to misunderstandings. And that is really where the story stands right now. Most people are still working with fragments rather than a complete picture. When a situation involves private family matters, legal questions, and a highly visible public figure, it often takes time before the full timeline becomes clear. One topic that continues to appear in discussions is the rumor about a possible divorce filing. If something like that truly existed, many observers believe documentation would eventually surface. Legal filings typically leave a public record, and when someone widely known is involved, those records often attract attention sooner or later. That possibility is one reason the conversation has continued. Of course, rumors alone do not confirm anything. There are many situations where speculation spreads quickly online, but later turns out to be inaccurate or misunderstood. Still, when people believe documents might exist somewhere, They tend to keep watching closely to see if anything eventually appears that clarifies the situation. Another rumor that continues circulating involves claims that Erica may have been removed from Charlie's will. That claim has not been confirmed publicly, but it still appears frequently in discussions across social media platforms. Stories like that often begin when someone notices a change behind the scenes or hears secondhand information that spreads quickly. Sometimes those claims fade away once verified facts emerge. Other times, they lead to new information that reshapes how people interpret the timeline. For now, however, there has been no official confirmation regarding that claim. Without documentation or statements, it remains part of the larger conversation rather than an established fact. Even unconfirmed rumors can influence how people interpret other details. For many viewers following the story, that is what makes the situation feel complicated. Each individual detail might seem small on its own, but when people place them together, rumors about a possible separation, questions about the timeline, leadership changes that followed, and reactions from different groups, the overall narrative begins to look much bigger. Supporters of Erica continue to argue that she stepped into an incredibly difficult position during a painful moment. From their perspective, her decision to move forward publicly and continue the organization's work demonstrates resilience. They believe much of the criticism comes from people trying to interpret grief and leadership through the lens of online speculation. Critics, on the other hand, believe the timeline raises questions that deserve closer examination. They point to the various moments and rumors circulating online and argue that those details should not simply be ignored without clarification. The truth is that stories involving public figures often unfold in phases. Early information can sometimes be incomplete. Later developments may confirm certain parts of the story while disproving others. That is why many observers are choosing to watch carefully as new information gradually emerges. If there were legal filings, personal changes within the marriage, or other developments happening privately before the tragedy, those details could eventually appear through official records or statements. And if that happens, it could significantly reshape how people understand the timeline leading up to everything that unfolded. Until that moment arrives, however, the conversation remains a mix of confirmed facts, personal interpretations, and ongoing speculation. For followers of the story, it has become a situation where every new piece of information is examined closely to see how it fits into the bigger picture. And judging by how many people are still discussing these questions, it is clear the public conversation is far from finished. Many viewers feel there are still details that have not been fully explained. As long as those unanswered questions remain, people will continue watching closely to see what information may surface next. If you have been following this story and want to stay updated as new developments appear, make sure you like the video, subscribe, and share it with others who are tracking the situation. Let us know what you think in the comments, because your perspective is part of the conversation too, and we will see you in the next one.